Modern outdoor sport has many facets. Today we accompany French paragliding pilot Jean-Baptiste Chandelier. By perfecting his style and technique, he fulfilled his childhood dream of flight.
Je m'appelle Jean-Baptiste Chandelier, j'ai 28 ans, je viens de France.
My name is Jean-Baptiste Chandelier. I'm 28 years old and I'm from Hautes-Alpes in France. Paragliding is my passion. I started with the sport in 2004. Since I was a little child, I've dreamt about flying. The easiest way to realize that dream in my region was paragliding. I took a class and the first flight was amazing. I remember it very well. Right after the start, I was up in the air. I looked at my wing above, and then I looked down at my feet, and there was nothing that connected me to the ground. I sat comfortably in my seat. My brain, however, was a bit confused why I lost contact with the ground. I think I will never forget that moment. When you start paragliding, you have two options. When we decided to pursue our dream of flying, we were told we could choose between cross-country, also called distance flight, where you focus on landing as far from your starting point as possible, sometimes hundreds of kilometers away, and acrobatic flight. As an acro pilot, you turn into a real freak, start with flight maneuvers and crisscross the sky in all directions. Suddenly, I was smack in the middle. I'm not tentative, so I choose a spectacular route because I love tricks and the like. Hence, I started with acro paragliding and slowly but steadily reached a certain level. I always wanted to improve my skills, so I kept my nose to the grindstone. Acro is amazing because of the thrill. The craziness doesn't last forever, but the technical aspect does, and that's really enjoyable. For acroflights, you need height, meaning high mountains, and those can be found in Chamonix. It's an extreme place with steep mountains, giant glaciers, and rugged rocks.
De montagnes très abruptes, des glaciers, des rochers. C'est un endroit très très austère.
We started from Aiguille du Midi at an altitude of 3,900 meters. There we had a direct and not too difficult access to the Mont Blanc. We took the gondola up to 3,900 meters and descended across a ridge to the northern side of Aiguille. To be honest, we weren't aware that there was a 1,000-meter drop right below our feet. My friend Jim and I were looking for a new challenge. So we chose a place for acroflying where you normally don't go. We flew to the edge of glaciers, closely passing crevasses, thoroughly enjoying ourselves with synchronized air acrobatics. It was quite stressful though, because we normally aren't too fond of high mountains. Nonetheless, the Mont Blanc Massif, and the Aiguille du Midi were truly magic. So we enjoyed the spectacular view, but at the same time, we were afraid.
Mais en même temps, on avait peur.
We play with gravity. During extreme maneuvers such as infinity tumbling, we reach G-forces of up to 5 or 6 G below or beside our wing. However, when we're above our wing, we feel almost weightless. Along with all the tricks, I love the technical aspect of acrobatic flight. I enjoy being precise and I want to perfect things. So I picked up more and more massive tricks with increasing amplitude. Thanks to my steering mechanism, I have a roller coaster in my pocket. That's pretty cool. When you fly together and do air acrobatics, there is an exchange and the flight takes on a new dimension. After we landed, we were stoked, because during the flight, we were looking for each other, got together, and partied again. One time, I even landed on Jim's wing. There are so many fun things you can do when you fly together. We do the same moves, but it is much more emotional and satisfying. It's brilliant.
Après, il y a un autre style de vol que j'aime beaucoup.
There's another style that I really like. It's called Waga, and it describes a dynamic evolution at ground level. The objective is to touch the ground with the tips of your wing, to have fun and slide with your feet, but always at speed. Chile is one of the best spots on Earth for Waga flying, especially the Atacama Desert near Iquique in northern Chile. There is one place in the desert that's perfect for paragliding, and it boasts beautiful dunes. The ground is interesting for us because it gives us the impression of flying, meaning the higher we're up in the air, the more it feels like sitting in a gondola in the middle of nowhere. There's no thrill. However, when we fly close to the ground and see how fast it passes by, we feel the speed. Then you really feel that you're flying. If you want, you can touch the ground without landing. It's very interesting and quite emotional. Like a snowboarder who descends on an untouched slope of fresh, white powder. For us, it's similar. We descend from a dune at ground level with ease and speed. It's incredible. Since my earliest childhood, I've had this dream of flight. Back then, I looked at Peter Pan and Superman. Everybody who was able to fly piqued my curiosity, and I dreamt about being able to fly myself. After I had focused on acroflight and had reached a pretty high level, I suddenly realized that my childhood dream was completely lost because I was obsessed by technique, acrobatics, and precision. One day, I went flying with friends. I didn't have my acro wing with me, so I borrowed a wing. I flew down the mountain at a very slow pace, slalom between trees, and played with buildings. In that very moment, I suddenly remembered why I had initially started paragliding. That was a catalyst to change my flying style. I said to myself, now that you have the skill and mastered the technique to fly like you dreamt of as a child, why not do it? So there is another flying style, which is rather my personal style. I call it proximity flight, because I enjoy flying onto buildings and so on. I had the idea to modify this style a little bit, but first and foremost, I wanted to find a spectacular destination. I opted for Santorini. I first spotted Santorini when I watched an internet video about a parkour competition. I saw people jumping onto houses and from one house to the next. The buildings were spotless white and located directly on the sea, on a beautiful island with breathtaking landscape. So I figured that this location would be perfect for proximity flight. The basic idea is to start and land at any place you want, because that's what Peter Pan and Superman do. I wanted to be able to do the same. So I met the challenge to navigate to a specific point and position my entire film crew there. We discussed beforehand what I wanted to do and defined various camera angles. Then I repeated the maneuver until my posture was perfect. When things work out, it's an awesome feeling. And it worked like a charm, so I was stoked. What's really interesting when flying is the interaction with other people. When starting from a hotel roof, like I did on Santorini, everybody turns around and watches you, and you can play with that. I recall a wedding that took place during our shooting. While the couple had their wedding photos taken, I enjoyed myself in the background and became part of the picture. It was a truly magic moment and very funny. If you can interact with people while flying, it's unbelievable. I mainly draw my inspiration from my childhood dreams, in which I flew through our town. In addition, I watch many movies, but rarely paraglide videos. I prefer films that display dancing, mountain biking, or other sports. Then I synthesize these new impressions in my head, align my ideas, and contemplate what I can do with it. I like creating something new and original, like my new style, which I call downhill. The Col du Galibier is a popular mountain pass for road bikers. When you descend the street, you meet cyclists all day long. It's funny how they stare at you when you literally fly down the pass. Those who stopped on top, feeling happy to have made it, were excited and surprised to see me. The cyclists at the bottom of the pass were also curious, but those riding in the middle were so tired that they didn't even turn around and were just facing their handlebar. They saw a paraglider passing by and just went on. I was laughing a lot and had a ripping good time. The situation was quite extraordinary, and the different interaction with the people, depending on the respective altitude, was very funny.
J'étais en contact téléphonique avec le chauffeur du bus.
I was on the phone with the bus driver and told him, drive faster, drive slower, and I adjusted my wing to the speed. We had very little time for this mission, and therefore we didn't want to miss each other. It was brilliant. When I landed on the bus, the driver screamed on the phone, "This is so cool!" He was really happy. I waited a few seconds before I took off and flew down the street. It was a moment that I'll never forget. That doesn't happen very often, that you land in a moving bus like James Bond. Well, without a suit and tie, of course, but that was the only difference.
Sans costard-cravate, c'est la seule différence.
I'm a child with a dream. Ever since I was very little, I've dreamt about flying. Many people share this childhood dream. There may be millions or even billions of people on this planet who dream about flying. That's why I want to share my experience. Paragliding made my childhood dream come true. Even though I have a wing above my head instead of wings on my back, it's almost the same. Today I can really fly and do what I want. That's pure freedom. It's mind-blowing.